hey, you know what? We do not have the infrastructure. We do not have enough beds. We don't have enough hospital personnel, to handle another pandemic. And so to combat that, we are going to come up with an ArriveCan app and then do absolutely nothing else. Hey, how you doing? J-Man here, and I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day, morning, evening, whatever. And thank you for having it locked to the Launchpad Podcast. This is a podcast that champions freedom of speech, and today we're going to talk about the experts, basically, government experts, right? Because they're the ones that have been dealing with this whole pandemic over the past 2.5 years. And before I get started, big shout out to my sponsors, GallantMEDIA, Car City Canada, Food Forest Abundance, and SilverFox Mining. Now, here is why I am disappointed with the experts. Well, let's just play around with a conspiracy theory scenario, right? That let's say this whole thing started in a lab and it was unleashed on the globe, right? And that's horrifying, right? What's more horrifying is the fact that COVID-19 started in a wet market, right? And then it traveled all around the globe and many, many people died. And it's not to minimize the people that we have lost. People got sick, all that kind of stuff. But the fact that this is how we dealt with it, like if there was ever the doomsday virus, like if there was like the big one, this has proven one thing. We're all dead. We're finished. We are not going to make it. In regards to the experts, like this is what I find really interesting. And I'm going to share some stories in regards to like government where they failed us. Like right now, I'm going to talk about the hospitals. Now, when this whole thing first started here in the nation's capital, and I'm sure a lot of places in North America, we were overwhelmed by cases, right? And we did not have the capacity to keep up with the amount of people that were getting sick. And now we're 2.5 years down the road. And we've already been told that there's a likelihood of another pandemic, and I believe monkeypox has just been declared a world health emergency. Something like that, yes. Now, we spent $1.7 billion or something like that in regards to putting together this ArriveCan app, right? To apparently bring down cases of COVID. But focusing on the hospitals, $1 billion anything is a lot of money. And if we know that we don't have the infrastructure right now, shouldn't the government be working on expanding that infrastructure so if there were more cases or this was to be a repeat event, that we would be able to sustain ourselves, right? But we're not doing that. Why not take that $1 billion and, I don't know, build another hospital, build some shelters, some aftercare or preventative care type facilities? I'm just a dum-dum on the internet. These are the government experts, and this is the best that we can do. Like if I had a business, I have a startup business, okay, and it's 10 people, and all of a sudden, you know what, we get a whole bunch of investors, and it's looking like we're going to grow. We're going to need another 100 employees. Know what I'm not going to be doing? Trying to squeeze those 100 fucking employees into the building that I did that startup with. There's not enough room. Know what I mean? Like literally, like there's maybe a toilet, we have a microwave in the corner, and that's it. So then we even see that, you know what, there's potential for this to get even larger. This is a pretty hot business right now. It's taking off. Maybe we should get a building that's even larger than for 100. Maybe we should go for 1,000 just in case, right? That's just natural common sense. And then yet when it comes to this government, hey, you know what? We do not have the infrastructure. We do not have enough beds. We do not have enough hospital rooms. We don't have enough hospital personnel and, to handle another pandemic. And so to combat that, we are going to come up with an ArriveCan app and then do absolutely nothing else. If we won an Olympic bid, if the Olympics were to come to the nation's capital, and listen, and that's 4 years of Olympics, right? Like 4 years waiting for the next Olympics. We've gone through almost 3. If we won an Olympic bid, we would have to build the pavilion, right? And we'd probably have 3 or 4 facilities built for 10 to 20,000 people erected already. And you're telling us that, things could explode at any moment. Now we have monkeypox, and you're like just sitting on your ass doing absolutely nothing and bogging up the airports. And again, we're short nurses. Maybe you should call all the nurses that you fired experts and have them come back to work. Hospitals are having a hard time. Right now, they were having a hard time before COVID even hit. And now we're closing emergency rooms. That's the last stop. The emergency room. Those are for emergencies. And then what are we doing? I could have a 15-minute ride in an ambulance to the Civic here in Ottawa, but there's too many, whatever they're called, zero events, and now you're shipping me 45 minutes out of the area? Just bring the nurses back. Great story here. A lady that I had on my podcast, her name is Carla. Carla, she was let go from her job because she wasn't vaccinated. And this was due to mandates, obviously. Now, here's the thing about Carla. Carla volunteered for a COVID unit in her hospital when nobody knew what COVID was. So she put her life on the line to help other people deal with COVID when there wasn't even a medical intervention available. And she does that for a year. Then all of a sudden, these mandates come out, and because she doesn't want to take part, she loses her job, right? Yet other nurses that were COVID positive, I believe, as long as they weren't showing symptoms, they were allowed to go back into work. Right now, we're dealing with a crisis. How about we just let anyone that wants to work? Let's do that. That would be just one simple step. Hire back nurses, and then maybe get started on building some infrastructure so we can handle another outbreak, opposed to complaining that we just can't do anything. We don't have the capacity. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Now, when it comes to the airlines, this ArriveCan app, no one else is using this shit, and we're pouring all our money and resources into this. That's what the experts think we should be doing. The airports are bogged down. The app is a contributor to that. I don't know what else maybe would contribute. Would it be the fact that, I don't know, airlines fired a whole bunch of pilots because they didn't want medical intervention? Oh, that happened. That did happen. And remember what the experts told us? Remember Southwest? Southwest, many months ago, they were basically grounded for a full week. They said it was weather. They said it was scheduling issues. They said it was computer issues. That's what the experts told us. The news told us that for a week. What was it? It was a sick out. People decided that they weren't going to come into work, and that was to basically take a stand against mandates. Why did they just not tell that story? But these are the problems. This is what the experts are telling us. The news and the TV, these are the experts now. And if you don't have that platform, all of a sudden, you're not an expert. It's I can watch the news, and maybe they're talking about garages ripping off customers, right? So I'm watching the TV, and this mechanic is telling me A, B, C, D, and okay, I can trust that guy because he's on the television. But then I talk to another mechanic, and he says, well, actually, you should also watch out for the... you don't know what you're talking about. You're not an expert. I saw the expert on the TV, and he told me, right? So what is going on with this new definition of what it means to be an expert? And then when we take a look at the experts, the most brilliant minds in Canada, and this is the best that we can come up with, it's incredibly disappointing to me. And the fact that all the things that government is responsible for in regards to making sure that this country works seems to be going to shit. So I don't know what the solution is. I've offered up some common sense type scenarios that maybe a government or an expert could implement to make things maybe a little bit easier moving forward. But man, sometimes I just give my head a shake. And I guess that's really all I want to say. I just wanted to come on here and I wanted to rant, and maybe there's some things that I'm missing. Maybe there's some things that I added. But man, when it comes to government and where we are right now and where we should be, I think that we are many, many steps behind. And in many cases, you know what? I'll give them a high five when it comes to CERB. You know what I mean? When CERB apparently it was absorbed by people that were out of the country, and some people got like 2-3 servings of CERB, and CERB was also clawed back from certain people, like whatever. But at the end of the day, everything shut down and people needed help, and the government came to the rescue with a couple of bucks. You can like it, you can not like it, but that is the case. And then in regards to like how everything else played out, like what a bunch of poop. Now, maybe you have a different opinion. Maybe you'd like to add something to the conversation. Throw it down in the comments below, and who knows, maybe I'll jump in and answer a few, and maybe this will turn into another solo cast where we can talk about more of the same. I'm starting to burn up in my house. I'm getting a little bit too excited, and I forgot my agua, which is water in Spanish, just in case you want to know, because this is also an educational program. So make sure that you subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Thank you for being here. And I love my sponsors. Much love to you guys. Once again, make sure to check them out in the description. These are people that I know, like, and trust, and I want you to get to know them, like, and trust them, and do some business with them. Why? Because they support free speech. J-Man saying, as always, out of you like a belly button. Well, actually, I don't always say that, but I did right now. You take care, be well, and love simply because you can.